Bloomfield News, Civic Center TV and 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, 89.3 Lakes FM. It's the Megacast, an hour-long TV and radio streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Live from West Bloomfield, we're bringing you the news, updates, and information impacting communities around Michigan. Join our host, Tyler Kieft, as he talks with community members, business leaders, and professional experts about the stories that impact you. You're watching the Megacast on Civic Center TV.
When the temperatures are chilly, being together warms the soul. Keep the winter fun going. Help protect yourself and those around you by keeping your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
WB Parks and the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force once again invite you to the 2023 Black Expo. Drop by Orchard Mall and tour demos and displays that highlight Black business owners, resources, and careers. Bring your friends and family to shop around local vendors and support their hard work and dedication to their craft. Come on down Saturday, February 25th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Orchard Mall in West Bloomfield. The 2023 Black Expo.
Hello, nose. My nose knows is when somebody uses the bathroom. Mom, Polly didn't flush. Ooh, I smell cookies.
I smell an A+. How could my nose be running when it stays on my face?
Our noses know if those sniffles are just a cold, allergies, or COVID-19. So swab it. Test it. It's good to know.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance in Michigan and to Michiganders just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on our local news page on civiccentertv.com. Our top story comes from Chris Solari at the Detroit Free Press. Michigan State men's basketball coach Tom Izzo spoke to the media yesterday ahead of the Spartan basketball team's return to the court on Saturday at the University of Michigan. The game was announced to be going on as planned after Monday's horrific shooting at Michigan State University. Tip-off continues to be scheduled for 8 o'clock p.m., and the University of Michigan is pulling out all the stops to ensure that it is a welcoming environment for their rivals in sports and their friends in life, memorializing the fallen students and those injured on Monday night, as well as their marching band learning and playing the MSU alma mater from the stands on Saturday, alongside other special programming that is also scheduled to happen at the Chrysler Center before tip-off on Saturday night. Coach Izzo responded to the announced memorial efforts from U of M saying, quote, "There's some things that aren't rivalries. There's some things that are bigger than the game. The game is going to be really important to me, and it has been for all 28 years I've been here. But there will be a little asterisk to it. I'm going to and I'm going to have to do a good job of holding my emotions, their emotions, everybody's emotions. And it'll be another good life lesson. When it's over, that'll be one of the things we talk about in the locker room, win or lose, end closed quote. A big game that means so much more than ever before. Saturday, 8 p.m. tip-off at Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor. Also making headlines today from Haley Harding at the Detroit News. The family of Ariel Anderson, one of 3 Michigan State students that died during the mass shooting on Monday night, has started a GoFundMe fundraiser to establish a memorial for Ariel, as well as to support her grieving family during this horrific time. The family said that they wanted to grieve together and had asked for privacy, but that the response from the community wanting to help the Anderson family was so strong that they decided to accept the graciousness of Ariel's fellow Spartans and beyond. Said Ariel's uncle Tim Davis, quote, "Everyone is really showing up for us, and we appreciate that," end closed quote. A link to the GoFundMe page is listed in this article, so go ahead and click right through to it on our local news page and read the entire article from the Detroit News to learn more about Ariel and her family and what they are doing at this time, and how you can help Ariel's family as they remember a beloved daughter, niece, friend, and family. Finally making headlines today on our local news page coming from Selma Kogo at the State News, the student newspaper at Michigan State University. MSU graduate Emily Damon wanted to help grieving Spartans with their return to campus this weekend, showing them that they are loved and just how strongly the Spartan community stands behind them. To show them a bit of home that was lost as a result of Monday's mass shooting, Damon organized Spartan Sunday, happening this Sunday at MSU from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. to help clean the campus, welcome students home, and raise funds to support victims of this horrific act of violence. What was originally presented over social media quickly blossomed into something much bigger than she ever imagined. Now such a large event that is a university-sponsored activity. Items will be handed out to students provided by volunteers and purchased additionally through donations, which can be made via Venmo at Spartan_Sunday. Again, those donations to help with this event and help with some of the handouts to students and other materials needed for Spartan Sunday can be made by making a donation via Venmo to at Spartan_Sunday. Directly quoted from this article, quote, "Volunteers can walk the river and pick up trash or head to a popular spot on campus along Grand River Avenue to give out $5 to $10 gift cards. Those locations, as of now, will be the Red Cedar River, the Spartan Statue, the Rock, and Spartan Stadium." All these headlines are on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page, alongside helpful links to COVID-19 updates from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. And so highly encourage you to go to our local news page, check out each and every one of these articles. We have all the articles that have been making news across the state of Michigan, particularly in East Lansing throughout this week, and I highly encourage you to go there, click through, read these articles in full. They're supporting materials. There's been such great journalism conducted in the past several days in the wake of the shooting at Michigan State University on Monday evening, and it's really important to learn some of the stories of people that experienced this, certainly those that have perished in this horrific tragedy, and also to learn about some of the good things that have happened in the wake of this tragedy too, to bring this community back together and try to begin the healing process together. Really good stuff on our website, on our local news page, civiccentertv.com. We have a great show ahead on this Friday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll check in with Carrie Krawick from the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Stay tuned. This is the Megacast.
WB Parks and the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force once again invite you to the 2023 Black Expo. Drop by Orchard Mall and tour demos and displays that highlight Black business owners, resources, and careers. Bring your friends and family to shop around local vendors and support their hard work and dedication to their craft. Come on down Saturday, February 25th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Orchard Mall in West Bloomfield. The 2023 Black Expo.
There are many different kinds of noses. Our noses can sniff out all kinds of things. Good things and bad things. Your nose knows if those sniffles are just a cold, allergies, or COVID-19. So swab it. Test it. It's good to know.
I'm Steve Eiserman of the Detroit Red Wings, and I think every child in Michigan deserves a safe, healthy, and happy childhood. Can we build a state where Children Trust Michigan isn't just a name, but something our kids believe? Please support Children Trust Michigan as the voice for children and families by visiting the website to learn more.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our program and stay up to date with us on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. We'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows and each individual interview segment on demand as well. The website, once again, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. As we continue to talk about the wake of the mass shooting at Michigan State University on Monday, we've taken this perspective from so many different angles, from students that were on site and parents that were calling in to their kids the night of the shooting and afterward, and the recovery, particularly in the direct MSU community. But this is a mass shooting that has happened here in the state of Michigan. It affects so many people indirectly as well. And here to talk to us about how we can help those communities heal as well in the wake of this tragedy is Carrie Krawick from the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Carrie, thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you with us for this because while some may not be directly associated with Michigan State, they may not be a student, they may not be a staff member, faculty, or have any really affiliation with Michigan State. Seeing this in the news once again in the state of Michigan, just a little under 15 months following the shooting at Oxford High School, can have a big effect on people of all different walks of life and all different affiliations to different places here in Michigan. So where should we begin with helping these individuals heal? Because they're going to have a different way of seeing this event and maybe being traumatized in their own way by this event, and they also need our support.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I was in high school when the first national publicized mass shooting happened at a school place. My son's in 3rd grade, and now he's already had one every single school year of his little life. So, you know, for our younger kids, they are experiencing these pretty routine, even if they don't know about them or hear about them. They are doing active shooter trainings, and they may hear touches of news stories or things that other people are talking about. So it is important to consider how they are affected by this information.
And it affects people at different ages, at different parts of their life in a different way. For those that may have been on a really short level of indirectly affected by this, you think about the parents, you think about people that have relatives close or distant at Michigan State. This is something where it can make them a little bit nervous too, even at their own university too. If their kids aren't at MSU and they're at Michigan, they're at Northern Michigan, they're at Western, whatever they're at, this could also make them a little bit nervous. How should we approach these individuals too? Because there's always going to be a sense of fear, unfortunately, in today's day and age when you're sending your kids to school, whether it is elementary, middle, high school, or college. So where should we start with these individuals to help them through the emotions that they're feeling in the wake of Monday's event at Michigan State, but also with these real fears that are there and that are present and are based in reality for our world today.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, like you said, is really normalizing the fear that and really accepting it and being compassionate towards it, that anxiety when something scary happens is precisely how we are supposed to respond. So nobody right now in this moment is out of line if they are feeling anxious, especially since something has just happened. This is part of our fight or flight response, and it's actually a good thing. It is actually this fear that helps us to plan and prepare for the future. So in ways, fear is good. What we don't want is panic. Panic does not help us. But a little bit of fear can help us to make better choices. Like I said, to plan and be aware of our surroundings and to use that moving forward to help create safety for ourselves. So depending on, every age and stage, you're going to approach this differently. So for very young kids, you may not talk about it at all, especially if they don't know yet anything about it and aren't going to learn about it from anyone else. So like first grade and under, they really don't need to talk about it. They wouldn't really understand, and it would really just expose them to unnecessary information. For kids that are old enough to have heard something or maybe hear something from other students, it's important to start asking about what they've heard and let them really guide the conversation. Ask them if they have questions for you, and only fill in additional information if there is something very incorrect, that fill in the misinformation in an age appropriate way. Of course, you're going to want to be considering your kids' age, their own maturity, and how they've handled difficult or stressful conversations before. As you get a little bit older, of course, reminding kids of their own safety plans and having them remind you, what do they know about keeping themselves safe? What do they know to look for? What do they need to do or know to do in the event of an issue? I think, like you touched on, I think one interesting sort of place is happening at colleges is that parents and their adult children may be on different pages about whether to return to school or not. And those families will have really unique conversations about whom gets to decide. Does the adult child get to decide what's best for them, or does their parent get to decide what's best for them? And how will they come to some shared agreement about what choices are made moving forward, whether it's returning to school or not?
We're joined by Carrie Krawick today from the Birmingham Maple Clinic on our program. You can find more information on their website at birminghammaple.com. That's birminghammaple.com for more information and to get in contact with the professionals at the Birmingham Maple Clinic should you be in need of some consultation and some help at this time. And Carrie, continuing on that topic of talking about this with younger children, with younger people also, in some of these cases, they may be the siblings, they may be close family of individuals that were at Michigan State and may even be back home right now or have come back home. And so now for these parents, there's kind of two different angles to approach this at, because for one, you have your kid who's come back from Michigan State and is feeling the real feelings of shell shock and trauma and post-traumatic stress, maybe even from Monday night's events. And then their siblings who typically when their brother, their sister, their other siblings come home, that's a happy occasion. They're reuniting with them. But in this case, their sibling is grieving and they may not fully understand just what that is or how that's affecting them. So how should parents approach that, especially with their younger kids, so that you don't create any sort of scenario where that innocent interaction could have a really negative outcome for the student that's come home?
Absolutely. And right. And any other normal sibling conflicts that might come up, you're going to want to be a little more tender and compassionate. You can't always guarantee younger siblings are going to be able to know sort of the severity or gravity of this. I think a couple things are really important. Again, first, most of us have already had our reactions to this, but I think if there is sort of like an upset feeling reaction as parents, to first have that by ourselves or with each other and keep that away from our kids. Certainly, kind of predict problems or predict kind of ideas, like you may be excited to see your older sibling, but they perhaps may need time or space. They may need quietness, or they may be feeling a little bit different or shut down, and kind of like what is our expectation as parents, or what is your idea as younger brother or sister to take care of your sibling who may be not having the best time right now. I think as parents, just monitoring all of your kids, making sure you're getting, healthy eating, healthy sleeping, kind of keeping some semblance of a routine, even if you have a student that's returned home, trying to, kind of have a good day to night routine, get some time outdoors, get some time for physical activity, and maybe creating sort of a shared family expectation for some of those things. Also, just, predicting other certain issues that might come up, like if there is a conflict, perhaps directing your younger child, bring it to me and I'll talk about it or process it with the older sibling, and instead of having it go necessarily through them. And I think also monitoring social media and news consumption, that during these times where things are so confusing and we're so desperate to understand the ununderstandable, that we look to information to soothe us. But obviously too much of it could become obsessive. It could become distressing and traumatic in and of itself. So predicting those kinds of things for your family, certainly also creating, your child, especially the one that was perhaps there or connected in some way, might certainly want and need to talk about it, which is good. But you may also as a family choose that you'll need sometimes to not talk about it, right? Like, and what will we be doing, if it's playing games or reading or kind of lighter activities, so that we're not totally always immersed in this and it has some boundaries.
We're joined on the show today by Carrie Krawick, a therapist at the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Again, you can find more information and get in contact with them on their website, birminghammaple.com. The phone number, 248-646-6659 for more information, 248-646-6659. To talk about this and other topics that you may need to discuss with a professional at the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Carrie, for some of these families, just to continue on with that particular unit in particular, if they are returning their kids back to Michigan State this weekend, we talked about having that conversation about whether or not to go back, whose decision that may be, whether it's the adult child or it is the parent. If they are going back to Michigan State this weekend, knowing that as of now, classes are scheduled to resume next week, and a lot of these students will be returning, that are going to be returning, will be returning over the weekend back to campus, some for the first time since Monday's incident. And with that being the case, how should that be approached too by these parents? Because even though in some cases these kids may be eager to get back to some semblance of normalcy in their daily life as they're trying to recover from what they experienced on Monday, going back into that environment can't possibly be easy for a lot of these students.
No, absolutely. It would not. And you're right. In many ways, returning to your routine is one of the best things for you. And that, and being able to sort of expose yourself to the new reality, which is in most cases, most places are safe routinely, right? It's these things that happen once in a while that are very scary and very traumatic for us. But following something like this, the campus is probably more safe than it has ever been historically, and to remind your children and yourself of that. I mean, certainly you're going to also, again, like I said before, knowing your own child's, personality, their own history, the other traumas they've incurred in their lifetime and how have they handled them, any kind of behaviors of substance use or abuse, like the opportunity to have some poor coping, especially after a trauma, especially on a college campus, is there. And to be kind of thinking about your particular child, what kind of checks and balances will they need? Will you be able to observe or supervise to make sure they're coping in healthy ways, maintaining their routine, attending classes, eating and sleeping in healthy ways? You won't get to supervise them 24/7, but you might want to have some conversations with them. Kind of what you know about them and their history is going to set them up for success moving forward.
Again, birminghammaple.com for more information. Get in contact with the professionals at the Birmingham Maple Clinic. And then continuing on, once they are back on campus and they have been there and they're going through their new routine, whatever that new routine looks like, whatever this new sort of normal that is going to be at Michigan State for these students, what should be the approach from the parental side of things to check in with these kids over time? Because on the one hand, they're going to want that independence back and get back into that routine, but it's important too to keep a watchful eye on them and make sure that they are recovering at a rate that is optimal and that is hopefully helping them through whatever they're experiencing, given what they experienced on Monday?
I think, like obviously different kids are going to have different likelihoods of reaching out to their parents and talking to them. And you as parents are going to have to gauge sort of what you know about your own kid. I mean, I would really normalize for your kids, especially the ones really eager to go back. You're going to want to be excited, positive, supportive, but maybe also offer this sort of caution that, like, even though you feel very excited right now, some things may feel so different. Or you may encounter feelings or people or other people's reactions that you haven't expected yet. And when you do, I'm here for you to talk to you about those, to help you. If it turns out your feelings change and right now you're a 10 in terms of excitement and readiness, and at some point along the way you drop, that's okay, that we understand that and that we predict that as parents, that right, that these excited or this desire to return might be heightened now, but it could change and ebb and flow over time, and that we'll be with you and support you and problem solve as we need to as you go through those ebbs and flows. I think it would be normal after anything like this, that the whole collective community is going to have experiences that are going to feel positive and coming together. And then there's going to be times where things feel very dark and disappointing, and that just kind of to be prepared for those waves. You may not know when they come, walk past a certain place or, smell a certain smell or, see a police squad car, something might evoke those feelings again, and just to be prepared for them and that they're acceptable and okay.
Joined by Carrie Krawick on today's edition of the Megacast, a therapist at the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Again, their website, birminghammaple.com, their phone number, 248-646-6659, 248-646-6659. And for those parents, too, as they return their kids to campus in East Lansing, and once again, their kids are back on their own, and the fear of the unknown is always going to be there when you're not around your kids. It's natural for a parent to be worried about their children when they're not immediately there with them and when they are. So for parents, what should they be doing, too, to protect their own mental health and bring themselves through their process of recovery from this scenario after they've dropped their kids back off in East Lansing, should that be how this goes?
Sure. Certainly connecting with other parents and talking with them could be a beneficial thing, or talking with a therapist. Like we said initially, I mean, fear is going to be high in the beginning, and it's through time and repetition that we sort of start to ease back into some normalcy. So, I mean, especially after something like this, we expect people to stay very anxious or grieving or sad or angry, any kind of intense emotion we would expect to see. If it persists in intensity and 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, with no new information or nothing new scary, then those would certainly be a concern. That like after a significant amount of time with, like I said, no new traumatic information, we would expect those feelings to dissipate. So if they're not dissipating, you will need to check in with a doctor or therapist, somebody to help you relieve those. Again, like I said, in most cases, most places of education are safe most of the time. After something like this, security and attention is going to be heightened that much more. So perhaps reminding yourself this is the safest time for your child, and to allow yourself to be comforted by that. To also, again, know what you know about your child. What skills and abilities and resources does your child have? And what have they shown you in the past in their times of need? And allow that information to really soothe you and remind you of your own confidence in your child. And it'll be that confidence that also helps your child too.
Carrie, a few more minutes with you before we'll need to move on today. Before we wrap things up, for others that are affected by this, alumni, other parents, extended family, those that aren't even affiliated in any way with Michigan State, but are feeling for those that experienced this on Monday night at MSU, as they continue to recover from this as well, how should we approach having those conversations and those check-ins with people that we know are in some way affected by this, and especially because over time, those emotions are going to be felt in a different way and are going to affect a lot of people in a different way as well?
Sure. I think one thing, I mean, it never hurts to, to reach out, and to at least try. Now, you may not get an instant response, and that's okay too. I think something like this is, of course, initially, perhaps especially people very closely involved are flooded with attention and care, but it's in those weeks and months later where, the topic's gotten quieted, or maybe they feel like I should be over this, so I shouldn't still be talking about it. And it's really those people at those times, like I said, a random day this summer where maybe just being able to ask someone how they're doing would be so meaningful, because perhaps at those times they don't feel the same permission that they have right now in the present, and they may still have that need. So just keeping those people on your minds and offering whenever you can. Is there something you need from me? Is there something I could do for you? Do you want to talk? Do you want to not talk about this and talk about anything else? Allowing those people that are closely affected to guide the conversation, and just offering the invitation of your presence and support, and even physical closeness and proximity are very stress relieving to people.
BirminghamMaple.com, or you can call them 248-646-6659 for more information and consultation. Carrie, thank you as always for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
BirminghamMaple.com, their website for more information. You can also send them an email, info@BirminghamMaple.com. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, highlighting those that are doing good things for others here in our community and beyond. We'll be joined by one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. That's up next. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important.
And now the same is true in the face of flu.
Influenza has the power to infect millions.
But it's easy to protect yourself, your family, and your community.
The flu vaccine is safe and effective. And with COVID-19 still around,
it's essential. Together we can face flu season head on.
Visit michigan.gov/flu.
It's that time of year, Greater West Bloomfield. Our towns gather together this March for the 5th annual State of the Communities. Important figures from Sylvan Lake, West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, and Kego Harbor discuss the past year's projects and developments. Hear presentations from speakers, discussions on plans of action, and more. The 5th annual State of the Communities, March 13th at 7 p.m. at the new West Bloomfield Middle School.
Many people are feeling overwhelmed and struggling with mental wellness these days. So be kind to your mind. Give yourself permission to breathe. Share your feelings. You are not alone. Have hope. Talk to a Stay Well counselor for free confidential help 24/7 through the COVID-19 hotline.
Ronnie started doing prescription pills at the age of 15, and by 19, he died. If your child is struggling with drug use, try not to be too proud to reach out for help. Don't be worried about what the neighbor will think or your family. Just get your child the help they need. Sometimes it's the hard road to take, but the hard road is nothing compared to living with the fact that your child is no longer with you.
There's hope and help at drugfree.org.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our program on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast and find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including our co-flagship My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows and each individual program and individual interview segment on demand as well. civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now is one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Bill Sullivan is the executive director of Crossroads of Michigan and joins us now on the program. Bill, thanks for being with us.
Hi, Tyler. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, glad to have you on with us today to talk about all the good things that you're doing at Crossroads of Michigan. For those that aren't familiar with Crossroads, tell us about your organization's history and its mission.
So we've been around since 1971, so that's about 52 years now. During that time period, we have provided basic needs resources and programs to those who live in extreme poverty or are homeless. Now, those basic needs resources are things like food, clothing, hygiene products, transportation, things of that sort. But where we have moved is more into the direction of not only providing that, but also to help people to understand what their stability goals are and how we might help them to achieve a higher level of stability by reducing poverty.
And that's a tough task to undertake, especially nowadays when we have seen kind of ebb and flow in recent years of people going in and out of poverty and back into it again with COVID-19 and coming out of COVID-19 and into our current economic time. So how has these last few years really impacted the way that Crossroads approaches helping these individuals, navigating life under the circumstances of poverty and homelessness, but also, as you said, those preventative measures, those interventionary measures that help them stay out of that after they get through the tough situation they're in?
Yeah, so COVID really did, it opened our eyes to a lot of things. We have seen for so many years, it's why we're there, is to provide these resources for people who really need them. They're in crisis. What COVID did is it kind of opened our eyes to often the crisis that someone is in, it looks like and it sounds like it's a crisis of today. However, it's really a longer term ongoing, consistent crisis. That's where we start getting into words like generational poverty, the cycle of poverty, et cetera, et cetera. Through all of that, that really enabled us by seeing so much clarity around that, to ask ourselves, what is our role in being able to change this trajectory a little bit? What we have learned is we have become masters at resource distribution, on how to get the right resources to people in the right way, in the right time. We've become really, really good at that. But what have we learned from that? And what we are discovering is we have learned that through a very unique relationship that we have with our clients, because they trust us, because they've been coming to us for so long, that the more that we know about them, the more we're better able to help them in stop that crisis, stop that ongoing cycle that they're in. And through that, what we do at Crossroads is we really embrace innovation. We embrace different approaches. We feel comfortable to think courageously about our work, to invite the right people in to help us with that. And through that, we're developing these programs that really are intended to reduce poverty and to increase sustainable stability in the lives of people. And that's based on what we have learned in the last 52 years of our strength, as well as really understanding our clients and what those dynamics are that contribute to somebody being in constant crisis. And Tyler, some of those issues are big and they feel like they're insurmountable to approach. Things like consistent and persistent racism, oppression, trauma. These are really big issues. If we don't know if we don't know about these issues, if we don't know the role they play on the lives of people, then we're not able to build effective interventions. So it is the blending of all of that, which is really where our sweet spot is now.
More information can be found on their website, crossroadsofmichigan.org. Again, crossroadsofmichigan.org, or you go to sharedetroit.org, and you can find more information by clicking on their Find a Nonprofit section on the front page of their website and just search Crossroads of Michigan to find all the info you need on the variety of services. And as you mentioned, they are extensive services because poverty and because homelessness are not one-size-fits-all issues. It's not one singular cause and effect that leads someone into that sort of a situation in life. And so and that's my favorite thing about what your organization does, just reading up on what your organization does to help these individuals, and just how much of an effect do these sorts of interventions have over time in helping these individuals prepare for life beyond poverty, life beyond homelessness, to maintain that sort of upward mobility in their life, and also provide that momentum too for the next generation to have those similar skills.
The impact is pretty significant, but the way that we get to that, that's really what's a little bit interesting about our work. So what we are surrounded by, and thank God that it's there, are people who do provide resources for these immediate needs of people. But what we do is we ask the question in a different way. As an example, we do have a workforce readiness and jobs program. Initially, what we were doing in the past is somebody would need a job, so we would give them computer access to search the job sites and help them with resumes. We think we have learned more in the last 52 years to where we can look at that differently. Instead, our goal is not to get that client a job, because we think we can do that. Our goal is how do we help that person stay in the job? Because if we can succeed at that, then what we're doing is we're helping that client find sustainable stability, something they have not had in their life. And yet the way to get there is, for us, is just to ask that question in a different way and to work with them and coach them on being successful in a job in a different way. That would be one example of real strong impact that's very sustainable. And we're doing it just through innovation and by just asking the question in a slightly different way.
Yeah, and thinking about it on a larger scale level, having those sort of interventions work and having those skills be developed so strongly, it allows them to approach other things that are also issues and also contributing factors to homelessness in their life, and then they're able to take care of those issues too. And all of those come together to create a much better lifestyle for these individuals and much better potential for them and for their families as well. So, Bill, if people are interested and would like some of these services for themselves or for someone that they know that's dealing with homelessness or is in poverty, how can they get access to some of these services?
So we're there Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. All the information is on our website on how to reach us, either through email or through direct phone. We also have a soup kitchen on Sundays. We are the only soup kitchen that serves a free meal on Sundays in Detroit. We serve between 500 and 1,000 people every week, and we have been doing that consistently every week for 45 years. So we've gotten pretty good at that. And we invite a bunch of different groups, a bunch of different people down to who have a high level of care, and they want to work with this population, they want to affect this population, and they help us do that every week. And we're really, really fortunate with that.
We're joined by Bill Sullivan on today's edition of the Megacast, the Executive Director of Crossroads of Michigan. You can find more information on their website, crossroadsofmichigan.org, or visit sharedetroit.org and search in the Find a Nonprofit section for Crossroads of Michigan. Bill, all these efforts are great and help so many people each and every day here in southeastern Michigan. But all of these efforts, like with most nonprofits, none of this really is able to happen at the level that it does without the help of people out in the community volunteering and donating. How can people participate in some of this great work and help their neighbors right here in southeastern Michigan as they're going through a tough time in their life or trying to get out of a tough lifestyle that they're stuck in?
Yeah, so again, on our website is how one can be directed to our volunteer portal, as well as how to donate. Our volunteer experience is rather unique. We don't design it on what our needs are and how we can plug somebody in to help us do more of that. No, we figured that one out. That's easy. Instead, what we believe in is people have an extraordinarily high level of care. We call that caring power. We feel that it is our responsibility to understand what it is that you want from that, what it is you need from that, and we align that to responsibilities that we have that ultimately result in not only helping us, but also giving you a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning in your life. That is our goal. If we succeed at that, and I think you're going to stick around with us for a while, you might even want to donate to us. Our donors, we're really, really fortunate. Half of our revenue comes from individual donors. And it is through that caring power that people have the confidence in us, and what we have been able to affect in the lives of over 150,000 people. That translates about 15,000 people a year currently that we're working on. They see the impact of that. They like the direction that we're going, and they feel that it's a worthy investment for them to meet what they're looking for within themselves, is that feeling of doing something powerful, doing something meaningful that they can actually see the results of.
There are a number of different volunteer opportunities and ways that you can support Crossroads of Michigan. And as Bill said, all of those are on their website, crossroadsofmichigan.org. If you want to go directly, it's crossroadsofmichigan.org/volunteer for more information, sharedetroit.org. Also a great place to go to learn more information about volunteer opportunities now and in the future, and other ways that you can help organizations like Crossroads of Michigan. We're joined by Bill Sullivan, the Executive Director of Crossroads of Michigan. Bill, a few more minutes with you before we'll need to say goodbye today. Anything else that we haven't discussed that would be important for our audience to know or to consider at this time about your organization?
You know, I think anyone who's listening to this, if this sparks anything within them, so that is really their caring power, and that's what we call it. And that's everything to us. That's what we harness in order to be our best selves. If you want to align that and activate that to really making a difference in the lives of people, we have figured out how to do that. Let us help you to do that. We can plug you in almost right away. In fact, in most cases, immediately we can plug you in. And there's a variety of volunteer experiences that we have. They include working one-on-one with our clients and helping to assess what their needs are. It also includes helping with our soup kitchen. It could mean folding some clothes from our clothing closet, or restocking our food shelves in our pantry. There's a lot of different opportunities we have. So we encourage you that if you're feeling that, get in touch with us. We will find a way to help you activate that in a way that we're pretty certain you're going to find a lot of meaning and purpose behind.
Bill, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us all about the great things you're doing at Crossroads of Michigan.
You bet. Thanks, Tyler. Nice talking with you.
Nice talking with you as well. Crossroadsofmichigan.org is their direct website. You can also keep up to date with Crossroads of Michigan and over 300 other charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform by visiting their website at sharedetroit.org, or join us throughout the week for interviews with these great organizations doing so much to help people right here in our communities. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, we'll wrap up this week's show and put a bow on what has been a very tough week here all across the state of Michigan. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back in a few. This is the Megacast.
When the temperatures are chilly, being together warms the soul. Keep the winter fun going. Help protect yourself and those around you by keeping your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can always stay up to date with us on our website on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Find more information about all of our partnering stations and find all of our full shows and each individual interview segment on demand as well. civiccentertv.com/Megacast for all of that. Before we say goodbye for the week, I want to take a moment to reflect on what has been a tough week for so many of us. In this business, you step up in front of the camera, you report and discuss the news every day, and then you move on. It's the next story, it's the next show. Everything just kind of moves forward. This week was different. Admittedly, this was one of those times that you just don't entirely know if you can do this. I've never told anyone this story, not my friends, not my family, nobody. When I arrived at Michigan State University in January of 2014, I was lost. Not because I was an 18-year-old boy thrust into a brave new way of life on my own for the first time, or because MSU just has such a gigantic campus. What I mean is I didn't know who I was, and as much as I did know, I didn't respect. I didn't want to be that person. I always felt like I was never good enough and didn't fit into any one rock-solid group. Making friends was always tough because of years of unmitigated self-loathing and imposter syndrome and an ever-inflated feeling of social anxiety that made it feel impossible to branch out to people. Learning to be independent while under the stress of managing your grades, work, thinking about your future, made it all seem so impossible. After one semester, I wasn't sure if I even belonged there. I wasn't sure if I belonged anywhere. That's where I was when I arrived at Michigan State University. Then came sophomore year, living in 2 South Phillips Hall. The guys on the floor welcomed me, and I resisted, but they never stopped being welcoming, friendly, kind, and patient. It was as if they could tell this young man wasn't right, and he needed their help. Then, by happy accident, while crossing over the top of the Sni-Fi cafeteria, Snyder Phillips cafeteria as it's more commonly known, I saw an advertisement for auditions for a parody news program called the Beaumont Bulletin, through a group called MSU Telecasters. Through the years, I'd gotten to know yet another group of immensely kind, caring, intelligent, talented people. People that were always fit to make you laugh, to challenge you, to lift you up as you worked together to figure out making shows, making movies, and just how to be you. These young people taught me what it meant to have friends in this world. They showed me kindness that so few had shown me in the past. They didn't have to do that. They just did. They gave me hope when I had so often felt none for years of my life. When I left MSU for the first time, I felt like I belonged. For the first time, it was okay to just be me. I used to think this was all just dumb luck. It wasn't. It's just MSU. Ask anyone who's ever lived through that experience. No matter what group you find yourself in at Michigan State University, you will find yourself loved. The reason I've told you this is because I believe that it perfectly explains what it means to be a Michigan State Spartan. We've seen it on display all week, including on Monday night, when many sprung immediately into action to help their classmates shelter in place during the shooting, protecting each other, and immediately consoling their peers after the all clear was given. Then came the recovery, an impossible process that nobody truly knew how to handle, and nobody really does know how to handle. Spartans lent a hand, whether it was alumnus Paula Reeser, whose efforts with volunteers helped ailing Spartans from in and outside of Michigan travel home to the community, rising to the call when the family of Guadalupe Wapila Perez one of 5 Spartans hospitalized at this time, started a GoFundMe page to help with Guadalupe's medical costs, setting the goal at $50,000, a goal Spartan Nation and its friends have catapulted to over $400,000 and counting. Just as they did on Wednesday night at The Rock, helping each other grieve, giving their fellow Spartans a much-needed hug. None of them had to do that. They strived to do that. Because that's just what you do when you care for people. That's what you do when you're a Spartan. Michigan State University will never be the same. For the students that experienced this horrific event, some may never be able to feel the magic of being home, a feeling that so many MSU students have felt in the past, something that seems so natural. It's not gone, but it will likely not be the same for those who witnessed this heinous act of violence and cowardice. That magic simply cannot be the same when it was stolen from Ariel Anderson, Brian Fraser, and Alexandria Werner, along with their lives, and from 5 other students with their health, and from even more students, staff, faculty, visitors, and more, with the innocence of feeling safe in a place that is supposed to be home. It's all just so unfair. It's not right. Thinking of all these amazing places on campus that have been beacons of happiness for generations of the Spartan Guard. But what will they be now? These kids didn't deserve this. Ariel, Brian, Al, all of you, you deserve so much better than this. It's tough to live in a world with monsters because you never know when those monsters are just around the corner. What we've seen on display in East Lansing, across Spartan Nation, and around our state and the country over the past several days in the wake of Monday's event is what so often also stands hidden. There's a lot of good in this world, and when we actively try to see it, when we actively try to be it, we can change lives. We can give each other hope, even when it seems that there is none. Because that's just what you do for people that you care about. That's what you do when you're a Spartan. That's it for this week's show, but before we go, I leave you with a beautiful rendition of the Michigan State alma mater, MSU Shadows, from 2002 College of Arts and Letters graduate Joshua Davis and past students of the MSU Chorale, a service of the MSU Alumni Office.
MSU, we love thy shadows when twilight silence falls, flushing deep and softly paling o'er ivy-covered halls, or beneath the pines we'll gather to give our faith so true, sing our love for alma mater, and thy praises MSU. When from these scenes we wander and twilight shadows fade, our memories still will linger where light and shadows play. In the evening oft we'll gather and pledge our faith anew, sing our love for alma mater, and thy praises MSU.
We'll see you soon. Take care of each other.